really, when you look at the statistics, the data, the argument from the United States just totally falls apart because Venezuela happens to be a country that produces zero cocaine. It grows zero coca leaves, and it's somehow now being blamed for this spread of cocaine throughout the hemisphere, and it's totally ridiculous. So I was actually just looking at the drug enforcement, the DEA's National Drug Threat Assessment Report, the latest one from 2025. And it mentions Venezuela in exactly 2 paragraphs. It doesn't mention at all the so-called Cartel de los Soles, which is this fictional cartel that is allegedly that President Maduro is the head of. And what it does say is that, that this criminal organization called the Tren de Aragua, which we heard a lot about this year because that was being used to criminalize Venezuelan migrants in the United States. And that's it. There's only a brief mention. It doesn't say, and it's what caught my eye more than the fact that of what wasn't in this report is another thing not in this report is that the specific data about cocaine flows through South America, because they used to publish this map every year that showed that the bulk of cocaine flows through the Pacific. And then a little bit flows through the Caribbean, part of it flows through what the US calls the Western Caribbean. This is a distinction only really the United States makes, which is the part of the Caribbean controlled by Colombia in South America, and the rest through the so-called Eastern Caribbean. And when I was looking at the latest statistics from the UN, this map shows that 87% of the cocaine that's produced in South America goes through the Pacific. 8% goes through the Western Caribbean, which is basically Colombia. Colombia is part of the Caribbean. And a mere 5% flows through Venezuela. And of that 5%, Venezuela seizes about half of that. So they seized last year 52 tons of cocaine. And the estimated traffic of cocaine through Venezuela last year was something like 110 tons. So they got nearly half. So this idea that somehow Venezuela is behind some nefarious plot to sow the streets of the United States with cocaine is pure nonsense. And what it really points to is this kind of this plan by the far right in Florida, led by now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, to demonize Venezuela and to set the stage for a possible military invasion. And they threaten that again.